What's up? It's Tom. Let's do a quick winter meetings rundown of Twins topics, 5 topics, and it's got to start. It's the way it is. It's got to start with Correa. That's going to be the story until this guy signs. Everything starts with Carlos Correa. The news of the day, early in the morning, Aaron Judge signing with the New York Yankees, returning to the Yankees. That's the biggest news of the day. Now that he's out of the way, I felt like there might be the floodgates opening. Trey Turner's also out of the way. So that kind of puts Carlos Correa either at or near the top of the list here for free agents. I had a suspicion he might sign today. I think it could come together quickly, but, I suppose shouldn't be surprised at all sitting here at the end of the day. We know Correa, Boris, the Twins front office, all three of these parties have shown a willingness to sit back and wait things out. But I guess the surprise comes from me of how did that work out for Correa last year. I thought maybe, once things formalized, crystallized his market a little bit more, that he'd be more aggressive in taking an offer at this point, locking in, what's going to be happening for him in the future, having some security. But I suppose what's the rush from that perspective of Correa and Boris? If you have offers you like that are coming in, what's the rush in grabbing one? So who's to say how long this is going to take? I'm not sure now, because you'd think that there were a lot of teams that were waiting on Judge to happen. Thinking mostly of the Giants. The Giants were very aggressively pursuing Aaron Judge, but it came out today that the Padres actually made a very aggressive offer to Judge. They'd also made a very aggressive offer to Trey Turner. So those are kind of the two main teams that are being talked about in the Carlos Correa running right now with the Twins are the Giants and the Padres. He has also met with the Cubs. That's something to keep in mind. You never know. There might be a mystery team that comes in later. But the Dodgers have said they are out. They are out because they don't think their fan base would accept Correa with open arms after the whole trash can sign stealing situation. Earlier today, I went to the Nordstrom's at the Mall of America, to the Dior boutique in there. Because that's what Carlos Correa says. He says if he goes to Dior and he wants to buy something, he buys it. And I asked, what's the price? What's it going to take? They didn't know what the hell I was talking about. So I don't know. I don't know how else. That's the most reporting legwork I'm going to do for you guys. I'm sorry I let you down. I couldn't get an exact number from the Dior people. I don't know where else to look at this point. I'm sorry. But I can't help but feeling deep down that the longer this goes, the worse I feel that he'll land with the Twins. Judge going back to New York, I think, is bad. I don't think the Yankees would have gone after Correa for what, maybe I'm way off base there for whatever reason. But I think it would have been a good development for the Twins had Judge gone to the Giants. I think now that he's not there, the Giants are reportedly, he was their second target. So I think that hurts. The other topic, okay, Correa, we're still looking for shortstops, even if Correa goes elsewhere. There's also not good sounding news for the Twins on Xander Bogaerts, who they've met with, because at one point it seemed like Boston was kind of out. Like it was assumed that they weren't going to be in the running for this guy. But some reporting today that the Red Sox have momentum in bringing in back Xander Bogaerts. Of course, Dansby Swanson is still available. Trey Turner, the only one of the big four shortstops who has signed. We'll see what happens. The Twins have met with Bogaerts. The Twins have met with Swanson. So they are keeping, in contact with the other shortstops on the market beyond Correa. How the dominoes fall, we'll see. But, if Correa, again, goes to like the Giants or the Padres, and if Bogaerts goes back to Boston, that's going to be leaving a number of teams who need a shortstop and only Dansby Swanson sitting there. So that's the shortstop market. The Twins are also looking for catching. That's been a big topic of conversation. Wilson Contreras, a guy that I was really hoping that they would pursue, a guy that really stood out to me among this entire free agent class as a potential really good target for the Twins. Darren Wolfson of KSTP reported the Twins were never really in on him. Wilson Contreras signs with the Cardinals. But Darren Wolfson also reports that the Twins have made an offer to Christian Vázquez. So not just interested, they've actually made him an offer. Not a guy that's going to really move the needle a ton, but would be a good fit to fill this position. A guy who's got a couple World Series rings, was on the Astros last year, was on the 2018 Red Sox, so he's got a couple championships. Has caught for a lot of winning teams, a lot of good staffs, but maybe close. He's been up and down a bit, but probably closer to league average as a catcher with the bat. Not league average, but league average for a catcher. So certainly somebody who would be beneficial to grab, and especially now that Contreras is off the market, one of the more attractive catchers out there. But what about pitching? We're talking about all these positions: shortstop, catcher, bats. What about the pitching? And there has not been a whole lot out there. The Twins are one of the only teams that haven't signed a big league free agent yet, but they've got lots of rumors, lots of talk about these position players. Not a whole lot on the pitching side. Very quiet. On the one hand, you would say a lot of the times the Twins signings in the Derek Falvey era have kind of come out of nowhere. So maybe it's not a concern. On the other hand, you have to figure there's at least something. There hasn't been a whole lot. Carlos Rodon, Nathan Eovaldi, and Chris Bassett are still available. All three of those guys have a qualifying offer attached to them. So maybe that's kind of complicating their market and why they're still out there. Quite a few other starting pitchers have moved to this point. Nobody that really stood out a ton to me that made sense or I thought were good targets for the Twins. From the get-go, I thought those three were the key ones: Rodon, Eovaldi, and Bassett. But also Kodai Senga, just because we don't know what is that market going to look like, but we got a little bit more of a concrete idea. He's been offered 5-year deals, so coming over from Japan. So it's not like he's going to be some kind of a deal. And I think maybe some of those teams that are not finding that qualifying offer situation attractive are pivoting to him instead. So we'll see. But, nothing really to report there concrete on Twins rumors on the pitching side. But, there was one big positive outcome for the Twins during the winter meetings. The very first ever MLB Draft lottery took place, and the Twins, who would have been drafting 13th under the old rules, moved all the way up to 5th. Against odds, they moved into the top 5. I think this is a huge deal, but obviously it's, the draft isn't until, next summer or this coming summer, and then, you're only your draftees, it's not like you're plugging them right into your big league club. So it's not an immediate impact, but that's a big deal getting a top 5 pick. Everybody loves Brooks Lee, and they picked him 8th overall this most recent season. So that kind of gives you an idea of the kind of impact player they could potentially add. And when you're up at 5, you can kind of play the elimination game of, okay, we only have to find 4 other guys to hypothetically eliminate off our board, and then we could get that guy who's remaining. When you're at 13, it's a little bit, you're more reactionary, a little harder to predict, more concrete at 5. My reaction to this in the immediate is that it a little bit makes it easier for the Twins to potentially trade some prospects now. You know that there is a big jolt coming. You're going to have the 5th overall pick. You're probably going to be able to draft a pretty high-end college guy who's going to be potentially coming along quite quickly, like a Brooks Lee in that position. So if you're the Twins and you are considering possibly trading some prospects for some major league pieces before, this is only going to kind of alleviate any insecurities you may have had about that. I don't think it's a big consideration, but I think it is something. That was a nice outcome for the Twins to move up. Also, during the winter meetings today, the Rule 5 draft took place. Nothing really to report there, Twins-wise. They did not select a player in the MLB phase. They did not lose a player in the MLB phase. So I guess that's good. There was some movement on the minor league side of the Rule 5 draft, but nothing too worthy of dissecting deeply here in this kind of quick hit rundown of the news video. But that is the news of the day. Let me know what you're thinking. How would you like to see the Twins pivot if Carlos Correa does sign with the Giants or Padres? Thank you so much to all the channel members. Here on the screen listed are the premium members. Really appreciate your support. We'll talk again soon. Thank you.